Russian man like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sight like a lot.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, and today I want to talk to you guys about something I've seen pop up quite a bit in my comment section as well as my DMs during this month-long break that the Boruto manga is taking, which will be up in August 19th, which is now that Code has seemingly been on the run. Will Naruto make the decision to send Sasuke after him, or will Sasuke take it upon himself to hunt down Code once he learns the truth about what happened when Code got his head stomped in by Daemon? I can see the reason why so many people want this to happen, if only for the fact that we haven't seen Sasuke get a clean one-on-one fight at all in the Boruto manga, whereas we've seen Naruto throw down with Delta and briefly fight against Jigen and then against Ishiki one-on-one before Sasuke showed up and saved his life both times. However, putting aside the low effort response of Naruto is the co-main character in Boruto Part 1, so of course Naruto gets the one-on-one fight, I don't think that narratively it makes a lot of sense for Sasuke to go after Code right now unless something major happens. So let's look at what we know for certain are chess pieces on the board right now for Masashi Kishimoto as a writer to work with, and what it would have to take to make sense narratively for Sasuke to go hunting down Code. Let's start with the problem of Sasuke chasing after Code right now. Narratively, that's a big problem, because while there has been set up for an eventual Sasuke versus Code confrontation, with Sasuke seeing through Code's deception when he had the claw marks posted outside of Konoha and the other ninja villages, and Sasuke quickly tracking down Code's hideout in the Land of Snow, we had the issue of Sasuke versus Code itself. If this would have been prior to Code getting his limiters taken off, I'd be more inclined to say that this was a fight worth seeing, and now that he's gotten his limiters removed, it's not going to be a pretty fight to see, because Code's power level has shot up beyond that of Jigen's power level, while Sasuke on the other hand has lost a significant amount of power when he lost the rinnegan. One went up the totem pole and the other one went down the totem pole. Narratively, the only way that works is if you have Code fight someone who we as the audience are already narratively familiar with, like say Sasuke Uchiha, so that we can see what he's truly capable of. He got his limiters removed and Daemon hit him with the Roman Reigns Superman punch faster than Jigen humbled Naruto and Sasuke during their handicap match in Boruto episode 204. Code is in need of a win unless he's going to go the route of Shigaraki from My Hero Academia, or from what I've been told, the route that Dio took in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I haven't seen or read, so I can't confirm if that's true, but I will say I have a collaboration coming on my channel with Anime Balls Deep discussing how to fix Code as a villain, and we will be addressing some of those comparisons, so keep the notifications turned on for that video when it drops. Now, if we assume that he's given the chance to get a win right now so he can come off like a more credible threat to villains, then serving Sasuke up to Code works for two reasons. Number one, we get to see exactly how strong Sasuke is without the rinnegan, and number two, we get to see Code in a more dominant light, because while Daemon did confirm that Code is stronger than Jigen, he still got torn down pretty badly and he did not come out of this fight looking like a credible threat. Code right now is physically stronger and faster than Sasuke since he is above Jigen, but he's also arrogant and stupid, which is a dangerous set of traits to have when facing somebody like Sasuke. Even when he's been shown being weaker than somebody who he fought, Sasuke's perception, IQ, and battle prowess has been enough that his enemies have viewed him as a threat. Kaguya made it a point to split him up from Naruto, because while she was stronger than him in Naruto and Sasuke was weaker than Naruto, Naruto in Kaguya's estimation was easier to deal with because his fighting style is more in your face and brash, whereas Sasuke looks for the crafty ways to blindside you. Like how he tried to lop off Kaguya's head in the moment when his rinnegan finally recovered its chakra. Once Obito died, he took that opportunity to say, my rinnegan's recharged, and then he tried to kill Kaguya right then and there. It was on sight. Momoshiki in the movie light novel made it a point to try separating Naruto from Sasuke because of the same line of thinking. They were too dangerous when fighting together, and Sasuke needed to be removed due to his mind and his quick reactions. Jigen succeeded in keeping them apart for a permanent basis as soon as he identified Sasuke as being the true threat, and he never let them get in close proximity once again after he transformed into his final version of Karma. Ishiki then did the same thing. He kept Naruto and Sasuke split up by using those chakra sensory cubes, and he took Sasuke out right away. Code is not as smart as Ishiki or as smart as Jigen. He's likely to play around, and doing so against Sasuke leaves you open for Sasuke to land one off-guard attack that critically injures Code, similar to how Boruto and Momoshiki were able to tag Code a couple of times before he got his limiters removed because he was playing around too much. Given that Code can absorb ninjutsu with his karma, something Momoshiki confirmed in the manga, he isn't as dangerous as Jigen from a perspective of hacks, because Jigen had a dojutsu that could shrink all attacks. He could summon objects from his Daikokuden dimension, and he could shrink himself in objects with his Sukuna Hikona. Jigen was a matchup nightmare, especially when you add in his karma could absorb jutsu. A battle against Code is merely a battle against somebody that's a stronger opponent, and it comes down to figuring out how to actually counter Code's claw marks. The strongest person doesn't always win every fight in Naruto, though there are some exceptions to that, but this is a situation here where you could argue that Code being the strongest doesn't necessarily mean he beats Sasuke right now. It's likely he beats Sasuke, it's very likely, but you still have that outside chance. And the way you can actually book this fight is that Code comes out strong if he dominates Sasuke in the fight, and Sasuke comes out strong due to his intelligence and experience being enough to force the enemy to retreat, especially if he lands a critical hit on Code. That being said, I personally think it's too soon for Sasuke to go hunting down Code, and I'll explain why narratively this doesn't work at all in my opinion. So right now we know that Code is licking his wounds following his battle with Daemon, and he's heartbroken over Ada not only rejecting him, but she also threatened to kill him personally if he went after Kawaki again. We have Amato on his way to Konoha with Ada and Daemon at his side. One has an auto reflect ability that cuts on the moment he touches somebody in the room, and the other one has eyes that can see everything going on regardless of distance. Code is currently at an unknown location, but based off the terrain, our best guess is that he's either in the land of wind or the land of earth. He did say he wanted to destroy Konoha as a way to hurt Kawaki, and if we assume that he's in the borderland between the land of wind and the land of fire, that would put him closer to the land of fire than Amato, Ada, and Daemon. It only took a few hours to reach the territory where Konoha had a guard posted once Shinki got to that area. So that could be it, and it's not crazy to assume that he would have claw markers set up there, since we know he had claw marks set up outside of each of the 5 major villages, and Shikamaru also had Kawaki shrink the claw marks in and around the village. Do we know if Sasuke had the time to go to that specific border and set up some type of an alert? We know for a fact that Konoha doesn't have anything like that except for just outside the village, because Shinki didn't get noticed until he was well inside the Land of Fire's territory. We also know that Sasuke was last being shown being debriefed by Shikamaru about the threat of Ada, as well as a second cyborg, which we as the audience know was Daemon. Sasuke isn't rushing out there blindly to fight Code, who he would be assuming got his limiters taken off by Amato, because Amato is not a shinobi, he's not pain tolerant. On top of that, there were 2 cyborgs stronger than Jigen that he knew little about. We have to remember that Sasuke is not aware of what we as the audience are, which is that he doesn't need to worry about Ada and Daemon, at least for right now, because Amato is taking them to Konoha as allies. I get it, people want to see Sasuke with this big glory battle, and they want Sasuke to get a bigger fight, but this isn't the time in my opinion. We've been in setup mode with a few skirmishes here or there, so you can get your foot on the gas for brief moments before you go back into setup mode. I.e., we had 6 months of setup chapters between chapter 55 and chapter 61, before we got chapter 62, where you had Code versus Kawaki, chapter 63 and chapter 64, where you had Code versus Boruto, chapter 65, Momoshiki versus Code, and chapter 66, where we had Kawaki kill Boruto, and chapter 67, where Karma Kawaki fought against Code, and then we moved back to more long-term setup in the last 4 months. I think we're still gonna have setup in the form of an info dump, similar to how Jiraiya dropped that truth bomb on us in Naruto chapter 237 about Naruto having 3 years to save Sasuke, and in the very next chapter, 3 months later, we see that the Akatsuki had assembled to discuss Orochimaru getting Sasuke, and Pain announcing his plan to hunt down the Biju was about to begin in that moment. For as sexy as another battle is, Amato's info dump and the depth for his motives are going to be more important for long-term storytelling than another hype battle. That way the fights in the future have more meaning behind them. Then the bad guy goes grr and the good guy goes raw, I win. That being said, if you think that Sasuke is going to go after Code or Code's going to attack Konoha in the next chapter, let me know down in the comment section below. And while you think that over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.